Good evening and welcome back to another episode of the Talking League. With us tonight, we have Ashton Lima as always. What's up?
How's it, everybody? I'm glad to be here. I'm glad to do another episode with you guys. Super awesome. And also to our viewers, what's up?
Thanks, Ashley. And of course, tonight we've got Momo Rakaki with us, joining us with his new fro. How are you doing, Momo?
Greetings, great sir. Honored to be here. How's it, guys? Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Good stuff. Guys, we're going to jump straight into it. As you can see on Mo's virtual background, it is Barcelona. I need to ask, Mo, for all fans that are Barcelona but not such a nut like you are, what's happened this year? I mean, finishing, what was it, second on the log, right?
Yeah.
What went wrong?
But yeah, I finished second this season. Your question, what happened this season? I think, without being too insensitive, I'd say Corona happened, but we were hoping it would be to sort of give us a chance to reflect on the season and what's happening, to incorporate some changes. But without getting too political and negative about it, we had a rough season because, number one, we need the players. The players that we have right now, I'm not saying they're not good enough. It's just, it appears as if they're not on the same wavelength as the coach, the management, as well as the board, which is another factor to consider, because if you have a look at how we finished, 2 points behind Real Madrid, if I'm not mistaken, Messi breaking all kinds of records, as always.
As always, yeah.
But the one thing I must say, though, and going forward, just to be on the positive side, is with the introduction of the new coach, I like how he incorporates the youth into it, or he has incorporated the youth. There's a youngster by the name of Ricky Puig, who's come on, and he's just been outstanding. We're not even going to talk about Ansu Fati, who's been remarkable since he made his debut into the first team. And I understand there's a few others coming in the near future, but we had a season post-lockdown, or just after the lockdown ban has been lifted and so forth in Spain. It has been quite mediocre, to say the least. I remember I watched the game against Atletico Madrid, even shared on Facebook that it was quite uninspiring, that I think it was a 1-1 or 2-2 draw.
Yeah.
Very uninspiring, in that the players, you can see that it's like they've lost their will to play, and they're so reliant on one person in particular, Lionel Messi. I understand that's how the coach probably sets up his team every time. He tells them, look, Messi is the fringe player and we're just going to play around him. But there's 11 people on the pitch. They all need to contribute. And they just seem flat, uninspired. The fact that I think they could see that they don't stand much chance when it comes to the league after that draw with Atleti. They just left it. I mean, I'm even very nervous about Champions League, which is usually a Barca sort of affair. But now with the likes of Bayern, who are looking ridiculously good, Pep Guardiola's Man City, who are looking amazing, Juve, yes, they're also good in there. I'm afraid we're going to lose against Napoli. That's just what I think. But yeah, a very mediocre season for us.
Wow. Actually, from an outsider's point of view, what would you take on Barcelona post, or let's just say Barcelona post Pep? There's been one or two managers after he has left. How has their style changed, and can you see it now because you're a Man City fan with Pep at the helm?
So basically, when obviously Pep did a lot for Barcelona. I think he's one of the big influences when it came to Messi. I think Messi also had a very good start with him as well. But I think, like prior to Pep as well, you can't really rely on someone so big, and also a big club like Barcelona should be able to perform with either a weaker manager or top manager. Because look at Valverde. Like, after Valverde left, it's like things never really changed. I know there's big improvements with youth and stuff like that, like Mo said. But, there's a lot of signings they should make, because if it comes to Messi being injured, or let's say, for example, one of the top defenders or midfielders in a team gets injured, there's a lot of backup for the next season where they're going to get complacent with their positions and not perform to where they should be performing. And then you look at City always gets a refreshment with Pep, and Pep's always been a person to spend, even with Bayern Munich, with City itself as well. Like, you see every season and get new players, which is very nice. But, Barcelona, I think, do need a bit of investment. I think they should look at new signings. I know Griezmann came in and the likes of De Jong. But for me, it's not really a midfield or attack problem. I think it's more of a defensive problem. Lingale or Lingalet or whatever whatever you call him. I still think they need to get top players like Skriniar from Inter Milan, or they need to get Koulibaly from Napoli. Like I said so many weeks ago, for him to come to City. But I think Barcelona does need top defenders. Maybe even steal De Ligt from Juventus. So I still think they need centre backs. I think that's the biggest problem right now. Ter Stegen, I wouldn't replace him with any other keeper in Spain. He's been top for years. I don't think it's a goalkeeper problem, but their form, like Mo said, I know, it's ups and downs, but against Napoli, I don't see them losing, because Napoli now have lost against Inter Milan. They've lost against small teams. They draw to some small teams, but then they beat Juventus in a final, which is very confusing. But that's the thing. It also shows Juventus' form. But a team like Barcelona, I think they'll still do well in Champions League, unless it's a curse in semi-finals. But other than that, it's chilled. It's like everything's cool with Barca. I think the only problem is with this season is the signings.
Good point. And on signings, I actually want to jump across the continent again. Mo, you support Man United in the Premier League. So now I want to ask you, I need to ask you this. What does Man United need in terms of players next season to challenge and get closer up to the likes of City, who are their direct rivals, and then Liverpool, who are, of course, their fan rivalry? So what do they need? What players would they need?
Right. First and foremost, I think we need a left back. Luke Shaw coming of age, the injuries are kicking in, and he's not as effective as he used to be. Look, he has his moments. The youngster on the left, I just can't get his name right now because you put me under so much pressure, that usually replaces Luke Shaw. Look, I think the fact that he is a youngster, he still lacks that temperament for the bigger games, if you will. So you'll find him making unnecessary errors where they shouldn't be. And he lacks that confidence that you require for a big team. I understand it's a thing with the youth team, or with the youth in general.
Yeah.
If you look at another position where we might lack, it's centre back. Definitely, you need someone who's going to partner Maguire and sort of feed off him and make him stronger. Because for £80 million, I think he hasn't quite lived up to expectations. He's got his moments, yes, but you can tell that had he gone to Man City, and I hate saying this, Pep would have gotten so much more from him. But at United, it's almost as if he was bought, and Oli and the rest of the technical team were like, look, you Maguire, you do what you do. You won Leicester the Premier League in 2016, 2015, 2016. So, this should be it for you. And the other key area I think we need to fortify if we're going to compete is that holding mid position. Look, I really applaud Matic. I love the man. He plays beautiful football. His composure is there, but age is not on his side, as well as his movement in the middle of the park. He breaks up play quite nicely, but you can tell his movement is quite slow, and sometimes his decision making is not too standard. To give you an example, I think if we'd sign someone like N'Golo Kante, for instance, I mean, you have someone like that in the holding midfield, you free up Bruno Fernandes as well as Pogba, and then the front three are just going to run rampant. But to that extent, I think those are the major signings I'd make. However, we can't also ignore the goalkeeping issue we seem to be having with Oyang De Gea, which seems like, to me, I think it's more from the player's side. He's probably tired of being at Man United. He's no longer the hero that he once was. And as a result, you can see in his performances. I mean, the 2 goals he let in against, I can't remember if it was Southampton or Chelsea. I just can't remember who it was. Those 2 ridiculous goals by his standards, or by any goalkeeper standards, just goes to show that the man's confidence is down. He's probably just sitting there thinking, when do I get out of here? And that's pretty much, it's not right. It's not good for the team as well.
Good stuff. Actually, with the 3 teams being relegated, if you had to buy 1 or 2 players from those 3 teams, who would it be?
I think, obviously Cantwell, Timo Pukki. But for City's sake, I would look at the likes of Pukki, because you look at Jesus. Jesus doesn't have that physical attribute that Pukki has. And also, creativity-wise, I know Jesus is like a a long shot, is very good. But the problem is that physical, that attribute being, he's tough, he's strong, he's not too fast, but his passes are there, his shooting is there. I think Cantwell can also be good because, like, for the likes of, let's say, Sterling gets injured, then our whole season stuffed because, the problem is with Sterling's direct, he's quick, and he's skillful. Now with Cantwell, he's very calm, he's very, how would I say, like, he likes possession, you know what I mean? So the players like that, and then also for the likes of maybe even, I'm trying to think now of another
There's
top.
some names
But
from
I think those two, maybe even Troy Deeney. I don't know if he's still going to be, I would love to see him play with the top team. I would love to see him in Champions League as well. You imagine, like, would have been a good one as well. But
what about Danny Welbeck?
Yeah.
No.
He's had his chances with
But,
Man United and Arsenal.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Mo,
100%.
what about someone from Bournemouth? What about Josh King, Callum Wilson for United?
Brendan Fraser, I think that's his name. But he's left. I think he's playing now in the
Ryan Fraser.
Ryan Fraser. I would have. That's one I'd definitely snap up without thinking about it.
And
Callum
he's on a
Wilson,
free transfer as well now.
Come on, I mean, the man is quick. He's got some creativity. He likes taking on players. Kind of reminds me of a gentleman by the name of Adama Traore of Wolves. So obviously they similar players in style. However, Traore is much stronger, obviously more physical. But I'd definitely look at Ryan Fraser, Callum Wilson, definitely.
Yeah.
And I just can't remember what the striker's name was. I think he came on as a sub more often than not. Geez, the pressure. But yeah, for me right now, I think those are the two players I take. Timu Puki, definitely I'd take from Norwich. Use him as my striker. I did mention Troy Deeney, and I actually meant that because the man has Premier League experience. He's physical. He's hold up players quite beautiful, and he's passing as well. I mean, pity on the finishing as of late, but those are the players I'd take from the sort of relegated candidates.
And the thing about Troy Deeney is he's quite a character as well. I know he likes to get under opposition players' skin, and sometimes you need that one player that's going to be a bit of a, I don't know what the better word I'm looking for.
On the side.
Yeah, the thorn. He needs to be the thorn, and he definitely is one of those guys. He's never been shy to say exactly what he feels like after a game. So Troy Deeney wouldn't be a bad bet, but there's a player from Bournemouth, a youngster. The surname is Brooks. I'm just trying to think what his first name is.
Yes, the midfielder, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, there's a big talent there. So I can't see him going down to championship level without one of the, maybe say Everton coming in for him and get him on board. What do you guys think?
Yes, I think so as well. There's also a right back from, I think it's Aarons or
Max Aarons from Norwich. I love that kid.
Yes. I would also take him to City as well. I think he's a top talent. He's young, he's vibrant, he's quick. His passing is very good. His crossing is very good. I think most of his assists went to Pukki as well, if I'm not mistaken. But I think he's a top talent. I think he's a City player or maybe even a Tottenham player. He can do well in Tottenham. But City has a lot of right backs at the moment, so we stopped.
I'd say someone else I forgot to mention actually is Abdoulaye Doucouré. I mean that could be I spoke earlier about that midfielder that's going to hold and distribute play for Man United. I could have a look at Abdoulaye Doucouré there. Kabasele we're not going to miss. And the youngster I mentioned from Barca, what's his name? Deulofeu. I mean, I still think he's got pace to burn. Although he's not going to be a regular starter for me in any other big Premier League teams, get him in there as backup for maybe a Marcus Rashford or Raheem Sterling, even perhaps a Lucas Moura or something. And just this is the time to buy up all these players. I mean,
yes,
who knows?
Yeah, it's bad to think now that I saw today that the Tottenham players actually go back to preseason training. They start next week already. And I'm assuming all the other clubs are going to be following suit. That's brilliant for us because that means there's going to be those preseason friendlies. And then 1 or 2 weeks down the line, we're back in the league again. So it's a quick turnaround. I think the league starts on the 12th of September. I wonder how that's going to affect players in terms of burning out coming closer to the end of the season, though.
I've realized something with the sort of let's call it this lockdown structure for football. Teams were pushing 2 games a week, excluding champ cup games and all that. And what that says to me is, take a team, for instance, we're not even going to go as big as Man City. Take Arsenal, for instance. They've got a very heavy youth team, and so forth. So for me, I think it's actually good that we have such a big turnaround, because you will be getting the best not only out of your first 11 or your first team, if you will, but also the developmental players. You can see them coming through. One thing I really enjoyed, and I'm going to take it to Man United, is seeing Mason Greenwood come through the ranks. I mean, he was just, wow, he's a product of this situation. I can point to a lot of other teams, like your Man City with Phil Foden, it was.
Yeah.
He also just pushed through, and the boys are doing amazing. So for me, this heavy schedule, although I know it probably won't last longer, but 2 games a week, it's brilliant. You get the youth in there, they get to prove, because let's not forget that they want to show you that they want to start that week in, week out. So this gives them an opportunity, as well as the more experienced guys, the more expensive, your stars, if you will, to think, hey, wait, someone is coming from my position, so I need to up my game. It can only make the game better. That's what I think.
Exactly.
Good point.
100%. So I reckon, with the likes of, like you said, with City and a lot of teams bringing in the young talents, for Marseille, like, for example, there's some players that never got the game time, that never really shone, if you know what I mean. So, you look at players that wanted to leave the club, for example, because they didn't get any game time. Now it's their best time to actually shine and actually prove to the club that, listen, I'm worth it. I want to play. The fans want me to play. Let me play. So, you got that. And then also for the likes of the managers, also improving tactics otherwise, because you look at Pep this season, I know we dropped a bit, but the problem is I think Pep was also rushed because we had the Champions League, we had different cup games. So did Liverpool. I can't just make an excuse. But the problem is, like, there's a lot of time now for players to shine, like Mo said as well. But it's also the likes of the managers that also need to try new things as well, because if you're going to play day in, day out, it's better to bring that security, for example, to actually choose and improve and see which player plays properly where. And I know some players, they're comfortable with like right back, left back, centre back, but you get some players actually adapting to other positions. Like, let's say, for example, Mario Götze, who went from centre back to centre mid. Then you get like Bayern Munich. There's a lot of changes. Alphonso Davies, Bayern Munich's left back. He used to play left wing or right wing in the Canadian League, and then he went up, and then Bayern Munich saw him and then bought him. And then they knew already that's going to be the star man at left back. So they also need to chop and change and see where people are comfortable, because a lot of players, they're losing their form and everything because they're not comfortable in positions and this and that. So it is very good now to show that, they're right or viable in a position. And yeah, that's basically where I'm aiming at.
Good stuff. So I asked on our Facebook page, on the Talking Leagues Facebook page last week, whether, well, now considering that Liverpool have won both Champions League and Premier League, will Sadio Mane be leaving? And we got a comment here from Tristan Kitchener, which I just want to read out to you guys. He says, yeah, hopefully not. All depends on the offers coming in. Mane seems comfortable at Liverpool and has a great relationship with the staff and teammates. However, it is football and anything is possible. With Watford being relegated, I think Ismaila Sarr will be looking for a new club and Liverpool could snap him up. If this happens, I think it would make Mane think twice, as he'll have another Senegalese player to link up with and make it feel even more like home. So that's actually a very good point. I know with a lot of the African countries, when their players go over to Europe, it's very difficult for them to adapt to the new lifestyle, especially when they're on their own and they struggle to adapt to that new culture. So I think European clubs in general need to look after those players better and have a better setup and what's the word I'm looking for? Make them feel more like it's a second home for them when they're coming through. So do you think Mane would be leaving, even if they had to go and buy Barcelona? Do you think he would maybe be tempted to go to Real Madrid?
Well, I believe that Sadio Mane, for me, it all depends on what the bigger plan is for him with Jurgen Klopp. Is he going to start sort of making or setting up the team around him? Is he going to be the star player? Is he going to be the main player for Liverpool? Um, Again, you need to look at his relationship he has with Zinedine Zidane. I understand that they I'm not going to say they're quite good friends, but they chat regularly, and they sort of like one another, and that's also another factor to consider. Do I think he's going to leave? Yes, but is it going to be now or in the next 2 3 years? Maybe not, because
Yeah.
I believe he still has more to do for Liverpool. The way I see and the way I understand and the way I know him when it comes to the media and so forth is that, look, he's getting quite a good amount of money at Liverpool. So for
Yeah.
him, it wouldn't be about the money, if anything. He'd
Yes.
want to go and challenge himself. But now he's what, 26, 27, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
So I think he's got another good 2 seasons at Liverpool to get as much more, because Klopp now he wants it all now. He wants to go for the treble. He wants to repeat what he did this season, the
Yes.
coming season, and I think going forward he's gonna make money. He's gonna improve money, and a player I do see leaving though would be the other African, Mohamed Salah.
Oh
And
yeah.
I'll tell you what. There's we've read stories of there being some change room rivalry, or collisions between him and Sadio Mane.
Yeah, I've
But if you
heard
think about, and I hate to do this, but if you think about who the better of the two is in terms of, I'm not just talking about goal scoring. I'm talking about overall football, work
that.
rate, defending, attacking, creativity. Then I think, gentlemen, we can all agree that Sadio Mane does come out top on that category. And now, if
100%.
you're going to go on the technical ability, shooting shots on target, I can pull out the stats: shots on target, goal scored. Sadio Mane does sort of edge it a bit. Look, and for me, I think that's what's going to keep him at Liverpool for now. The fans love him. I think he's getting that, and the addition of Sa could further reiterate the fact that he needs to stay. So I do see him staying. But yeah, I mean, if you talk about him going to Real Madrid, Real Madrid's already packed with wingers and midfielders. I mean, just offhand, you've got Rodrigo, you've got, well, the two Brazilians, Rodrigo and Vinicius Jr. You've
Yeah.
got Gareth Bale. Yes, he might not play much longer, but he's still there. You've got Marco Asensio, utility player. Let's not forget you've got Lucas Vasquez. So it's quite a big sort of attacking
Yes.
lineup you've got there. So that position for him, I don't think right now. And, Spain, I've heard, is a different beast for African players in general. The only one to ever really do it just offhand was Samuel Eto'o, who was adored. But the rest of the guys have had it much tougher going there. So,
They
yeah,
struggled,
I don't
yeah.
think they've struggled.
Yes,
So I
100%.
don't think, not yet, no.
Yeah.
Actually, what do you reckon? Do you think it's a case of one of the two of them are going to be leaving, in the sense of either Salah or Mane?
I would actually be a bit shocked if they had to leave, because I know Mane is very, he shone as a player in Liverpool. I know when he was in Southampton, he did have his days where he was one of the best players in the Premier League in his team as well. But seeing him leave, it will be a big shock. I know if Salah had to leave, I don't think it will make a massive dent on Liverpool because of this season. I know I'm not going to take Salah's achievement away, where he scores every season, he's doing well, but I think he was very dependent as well on his team. When he was at Roma, you look at Roma, for example, where Salah was performing, he wasn't performing to the same standard. And then I think once him and Mane linked up, it was like Ronaldo and Gareth Bale, for example. But when I look at Mane, I think Mane is the better player, like Mo said. But the problem I have is, if Salah leaves, will there still be that same chemistry? If, let's say, for example, they bring in a new right winger, or will it still have Liverpool's chances of being on top the same? And I promise, if Mane leaves, I think that will be a massive blow, especially how good he is, his technical ability, like Mo said. But my problem is the striking position. Will it affect them next season? Because I know Firmino, as much as he can do with his creativity and his talents, and then also bringing Origi, I don't know if that's going to be enough as well for the next season, where I can see them on top. I wouldn't see them in maybe even top 3, because look at the signings that Chelsea's making. Look at the signings that City's going to make and have made with Ake and them. So, I wouldn't see Liverpool in top 3 next season if they don't organise maybe even a new right winger, because I see Salah starting not underperform, but I think maybe I don't think he's at that same level anymore, and I think it's starting to affect him as well. Mo, I just want to bring up that. Sorry if I go off target here, or off statements. I think Man United. I think Man United need a new goalkeeper. I know Schmeichel, he's been waiting for a big move to Man United like his father.
Ah,
I also need. I also think maybe even a new striker. I know Martial's performing week in, week out, but you can't do it alone. He wants to play either on the wing. I've seen sometimes when he plays on the wing, he shines. And then look at Rashford, for example. Rashford obviously is a wing player. When he went striker, is top talent. But I think there needs to be that physical presence. Like Chiro Mobile or some tall 6'6" Peter Crouch. So I think there is that feeling that I think United can do well next season. I'm not a United supporter, but I think they can do well. But going back to Liverpool, I think if Salah does leave or Mane leaves, or if they both leave, you never know. It will be a massive blow for Liverpool because I think they were very dependent over the years with those two players, especially Mane and Salah. Salah in the first season, that's what made them. And then Mane going forward for the next 4 or 5 seasons, I don't see Salah making a big difference compared to Mane.
I just want to add to your point, if I may. When it comes to Roberto Firmino, look, the man is, I think we can safely call him a number 10. So to go back to your point about Liverpool needing an out-and-out striker, definitely. Could they possibly want to sign Harry Kane? I don't know, someone like Harry Kane, perhaps, who just was back to goal, can do anything. That's because we appreciate Roberto Firmino, and I speak for the Liverpool fans as well, but the goals for him this season just didn't come. And as a striker, unfortunately, I don't care in what system you play, your job is to score goals. You can't be heavily reliant on your wingers or midfield to score goals. At the end of the day, defenders defend, goalkeepers keep goals from going into the net or keep balls from going into the net, and strikers strike. And especially in the Premier League, it's all about the goals, the physicality of it all. Being creative, yes, it won them a few trophies, but come next season, you spoke about Chelsea and Ziyech signing, Timo Werner. You've got these brilliant. Chelsea's a team to watch next season. So
exactly, yeah.
Good stuff. Guys, I reckon we could probably sit here all night just trying to catch up on football talk and that. But we are trying to keep our time down to at least 30 minutes. For this week, I'm going to wrap it up on that note. It's good topics that we've gone through tonight, interesting points of view. That's what I love about football. And Mo, would you like to give a shout out to anyone or say anything?
Shout out to the Talking League. Thanks so much for having me. It's a pleasure. You guys are awesome. There we go. Mine's in the washer. Sorry. And all the Barca fans, we will get through this. We'll make it. Don't stress about it. Keep positive. And everyone at home, just keep safe. We will beat this.
That's it, Ashi.
100%. I just want to say thank you for watching, guys. It's a pleasure to have you guys watching us. It does mean a lot for us, especially like you at home. You're watching, you're staying safe, you're staying blessed. I think to all the City fans, this season was a bit rocky, but I think Champions League is there, and I think we can take it back. We can actually go for it for once. We can actually get into the finals, maybe. Never know. You never know.
Your picture disappeared, Ashi, and I think we've lost.
Yeah, it's a sign.
That's a curse. I'm just going to wrap it up. Gentlemen, thank you so much for being on the show tonight. To our fans and our followers, thank you very much for watching, commenting, liking, subscribing, sharing the whole bantude. Keep it up. Keep safe. Keep washing your hands. Keep social distancing. And we will get through this and get back to football soon. Much love, everybody.